What's up, guys? This is Cameron White here with White Light Astrology, talking about Saturn moving into Capricorn. This is that shift that we've been looking for. Saturn going through Libra back in 2000 what? That was 2010 to like 2009, 2012, I think, around there. Saturn in Libra was all about, really getting that relationship with ourselves and other people right. Getting about, okay, where are these limits at? Showing us the reality of things. Saturn in Scorpio after that was just a fucking nightmare. Saturn in Scorpio had no mercy on anyone. No one was left behind. We all went through Saturn in Scorpio. And that was showing us what was really going on in our emotions, what the truth is, and whether or not we want to believe that. Saturn in Sagittarius was, what are those beliefs? After we experienced Saturn in Scorpio of getting down to the truth, getting down to the emotional reality of things and what that is subjectively. Scorpio is a very subjective sign, can be objective, can have a truth. However, where it really matters is that subjective perception. And as Saturn went through Sagittarius, it was about, okay, we've had this emotional realization. We kind of had to toughen up because Saturn and Scorpio, all about, discipline, restrictions, limits, being hard on ourselves. In Scorpio, of that emotional raw truth of transformation and of, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Saturn and Sag is like, okay, we realized that, but now what does that all mean? Where can we take ourselves with that truth? What can we realize? What do we believe? And what limits do we have? Saturn and Sagittarius is just so interesting because Saturn is all about these limits and these restrictions and, showing us where we can't excel, showing us what we can't learn or what we can't believe. However, Saturn in Sagittarius is so interesting because it's the sign of limits. It's the sign of, concrete things. It's ruled by Capricorn, also Aquarius. It's very raw. It's very, the best way to put it is, I know Capricorn rules the energy, but think of like an Aquarius. Like Aquariuses are just so hardcore without being hardcore. And I think it's that fixed modality of them coming from that space of ego, even though they're totally not of ego. You guys know what I mean. However, Saturn in Sagittarius was showing us, do we really have any limits? Because this is Sagittarius. We're talking about learning, thinking, philosophizing, discovering the philosophy and the spirituality and what that all means to us and what we could do with it. And Saturn in Sagittarius was kind of like this okay, go type of deal. Like, do we have limits? Do we have restrictions? It's kind of like being blind. If you put a blindfold on yourself and you got to walk through a room, I mean, technically you have a limit and a restriction, but you're more than welcome to walk around the room. You may trip and fall. Sure, you may hit your head on something, but it's not that you really have a restriction to where to go. It's just about, are you willing to go? It's putting that blindfold on and having us see what it is that we really believe about ourselves and what we believe around the world around us, the room in which that we are in. What do we believe about that room that lets us either walk with faith and with trust and with hope with this blindfold on, or we just stay in our complacent selves right there and worry about why we can't go, why we can't move forward, and over-analyzing and processing that, and you'll just finding all those restrictions and limits within inside yourself. Saturn moving into Capricorn is that moment where we go, okay, this is what I believe, this is what I know, this is what I've learned, and this is what I've experienced. What do you want to do with it? What do you want to create? What is real? Saturn and Sagittarius, we've been exploring. We've just been in the moment, exploring, seeing what possibilities are out there. It's been rough. We've been overthinking this. We've been really, Sagittarius, it's just kind of like God, I saw this meme, and it was like, when it's 5 in the morning and your friends still want to party for some reason and you're stuck with them because you're in the car with them. And it's like, that's how Sagittarius energy can be. It's like, God, how much longer is this going to go? When is it going to end? My brain hurts. My body hurts. There's just, I need a moment to process and understand all of this stuff. And as we get in Saturn and Capricorn, that's that moment where we're done. We've experienced, we've learned, we've seen, and this Mercury retrograde we're going to be having on top of it's going to show us a lot more. And as Saturn moves into Capricorn, this is going to be where it's like, okay, based on the beliefs, based on the results that I have, this is what I want to create. This is what I want to do. How are you going to disassociate yourself and detach yourself from the emotional aspect of things, of, you know, thinking things need to be this way, or wanting to have, you know, some sort of control over the emotional sides of yourself? It's not going to be there. Saturn and Capricorn's about what the fuck needs to get done. What do you need to do? Where do you need to actually discipline yourself in order to create the results that you want in your life? Saturn and Sagittarius was like, oh, let's just have fun with your brain for a little while. Saturn and Capricorn is now going, hey, what do you need to do? Do you need to pay your bills? Do you need to, you know, actually do what you tell people that you want to do? Do you need to actually stop maybe partying so much? Do you need to maybe, you know, be a little bit more serious with your relationship? Do you need to get a better foundation? What do you need to have more? What do you need to do that's going to be more effective in your life? Capricorn's all about rules, regulations. It's all about what works and what doesn't work. Think of Capricorn as like the CEO of a company. A CEO of a company, I swear to God, you can look at all of them, they don't care how their company works. They just care that it works. They don't care what happens, what all the minuscule little details are. All they care is if it's effective and it's making them money. And this is the energy that we're going to have to discipline ourselves on for the next 2.5 years. This is where we're going to have to go, okay, we have to detach from the emotional investment that we might have had. Because again, this is, you know, if you have Saturn and Cancer, this is going to be opposing your Saturn. And Saturn, or I shouldn't say Saturn and Cancer, but Cancer energy is about that emotional attachment and that emotional investment. Now we're talking about our actual investment of ourself, of our time, of our beliefs, of what we really want to do. And Saturn and Capricorn is going to teach us, hey, we don't need to fully go invest and put our emotions in, you know, try to get everything right. It just needs to get done. You ever have, you know, if you were a kid, you ever had like a chore and you just dread it because you wanted to look a certain way, or, you know, whatever it was, and your parents just didn't even care like how you did it. They just wanted it to get done, or a teacher, or whatever that experience was for you. Saturn and Capricorn just wants us to get it done, wants us to build. It wants us to remain in our power. It wants us to detach from this emotional aspect, not be all confusing, and get what needs to get done. Saturn in Capricorn is also going to show us a little bit more about the inside of us. Because again, Capricorn opposes Cancer. Cancer is the inside of us. Cancer is what we experienced as kids, as children, where we developed all of our beliefs, our thoughts, our behaviors, and our actions from our parents and our environment. And Saturn goes, okay, what's limiting you from doing what needs to get done? What's really going on inside? And you're going to do a lot of self-exploration. Saturn moves into Capricorn December 20th. It's going retrograde at 9 degrees of Capricorn on April 18th, 2018. So I want to talk about that real quick, is that it's going retrograde at 9 degrees. I find that very interesting because right before it hits that second decan of, you know, the 10 to 20 degrees, we're going to have it at 9 where we think we're starting to get it together. And as it goes retrograde, we're going to have to look within. Okay. What do we need to establish and build within? What do we need to create within? What do we need to do in order to get the job done? And that's what Saturn and Capricorn is all about. What do we need to do to get the job done? As it retrogrades in April, we're going to have to look inside ourselves and go, okay, there's some issues coming up. There's some emotions coming up. I don't know how to detach from this or get out of this emotional investment. And the biggest key for this is with Capricorn, especially with, anyone born from, I think it was like 88, maybe 87 till 2000 or till 1996-ish. All of us have this Neptune and Uranus conjunction in Capricorn. This is going to show us a lot of different things. All of you guys experiencing your Saturn returns, all you millennials, and all of us, your Generation Z, having this Saturn go through Neptune and Uranus. It's going to bring a lot to our awareness. And we got to look down to, what do we want? This is Neptune. With Neptune and Capricorn, we have this beautiful vision, this beautiful attachment, and this rose-colored glasses to having things perfectly done. It's like everyone that's in our age range wants things to look a certain way. They want success. They want money. They want things to be easy. They just want things to work. And if you want to create this dream, if you want to create that reality, you have to ask yourself, what are you willing to do it? What are you willing to do in order to manifest that? And Saturn does not fuck around. We experienced Saturn through Scorpio. So whatever 12 to 15 was like for you, if you notice, Saturn didn't fuck around with the emotions. We had, and I'm sorry if my language is offensive, but real shit right now. Saturn is not playing. Saturn going to Capricorn is, what are you willing to do? How committed are you to what it is that you want to create? Wherever this lies in your chart, whether it's like your first house of self, what do you want to create out of yourself? Or whether it's your 7th house of relationships, what do you want in your marriage? Or if it's in your 5th house of your art, or it's in your 11th house of your friends and your social networks, whatever it is, how committed are you to creating that? Regardless of what the outcome may be, how committed are you to doing it? Are you willing to do whatever it takes, which is that ultimate level of commitment? Or are you just going to keep going and going until it gets too hard? Until you don't want to do it anymore? Because this is also Capricorn energy. Capricorn's the boss. Capricorn's like, as bad as I want it, I may not want to actually work for it. I want things to come more easily, more in power. And with the Saturn in Capricorn, we're going to have to go, when is it going to be, like, again, what is that level of commitment? What are we willing to do in order to obtain that concrete part of our lives, that foundation? And Taurus is more of that ground level, ground zero foundation within inside of us. Capricorn is, after we experience all of the other cycles, all of the lower energy charts, so, the lower energy signs, so like Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Libra, we get to that middle point, we have Scorpio, where then we go, holy shit, this is intense. We got to do some changes. We need to see what the truth is and the reality on the upper consciousness and the more spiritual side of things. Then we go into Sagittarius going, what do we believe? What can we achieve? What is really out there? What can we learn? What can we understand? Then we have Capricorn, the very top of the chart, going, okay, based on what you've experienced throughout your whole life, based on the truth and what you've learned and discovered and what you've done with that, what do you want to create out of it? It's like there's no point into discovering the truth or what the hell is out there without doing some of it. Like if Lewis and Clark went out, Saturn and Sagittarius, Lewis and Clark, we're just going. We have no idea what's out there, but we're just going to go. Saturn, that's totally Saturn and Sagittarius. Now, if Lewis and Clark came back, they went to, who was it? It wasn't Thomas Jefferson. Andrew Jackson, I think it was, when they bought the Louisiana Purchase. Now, if Lewis and Clark just came back and they're like, yep, we went to the other side and that's it, what was the whole point of the expedition? No, they were like, we just bought this. We need to go explore it and see how we can make money, see if people can live there, see if we can just do something with it, use it, Capricorns are so good, like they don't want to own anything unless they can use it for something, you know what I mean? They don't like to just have extra junk around. So with Saturn going in Capricorn, this is about, what are we doing with what we just experienced, with what we just learned? This past 2.5 years has blown everyone's mind into smithereens. There's not even one person in my life that I can think of that's exactly the same. And that's usually weird. It's usually always someone that's stuck in their resistance and stuck in their, old patterns and their old beliefs. But it's like everyone has experienced something over this past 2.5 years, has learned, has discovered something, and they've went with it. Or I shouldn't say they went with it. They were kind of forced to. Saturn and Sagittarius is kind of like, imagine just having to tag along with Lewis and Clark, regardless if you wanted to or not. It's like, well, you're going to go anyway because you need to discover something. You need to learn something. You need to be shown that there is more than what is around your environment. You need to look for other answers, other experiences, and learn from them. And as Saturn goes into Capricorn, what are we doing with it? Going back to when he goes retrograde, April 18th, he goes direct at 2 degrees. So again, this is going to be understanding, getting a grip on things. Okay, and again, Capricorn's a very easy sign. Capricorn, as long as it gets done, it's done. That's all that matters. Doesn't have to look a certain way, doesn't have to be creative, doesn't have to be this huge, crazy thing. It just needs to get done. And if you can make something, if you can create that something and get it done, that's when, of course, when Saturn goes into Aquarius, what can we do with it? Let's blow it out into proportion and get creative and artsy with it and different. However, how can we create it? What can we do? It goes direct at 2 degrees, so it's going to be little baby steps, and then it'll go retrograde again at 20 degrees. It'll be conjunct Pluto at 20 degrees, and that's going to be April 30th, 2019. That's when it's going to be like, oh, fuck. Like, there's a lot to change. There's a lot that we have to commit to. Pluto is in Capricorn right now. Pluto's going to be in Capricorn for another little while. And Pluto in Capricorn is all about, there's this underlying theme with Pluto and Capricorn that things don't always really work the way that you think they work, and there's another way for it to happen. Pluto in Capricorn is, the US is going through its Pluto return. As you can see, none of what we're doing works anymore. We have to change what works. And it doesn't matter what that change is, as long as it's efficient, as long as it's effective, as long as it's providing improving results. That's all that matters. And Saturn is going to hit 20 degrees Capricorn, conjunct Pluto. That's where it's going to be like, we're going to have to do things differently. And again, what is that level of commitment? Are you committed to the end result? Are you committed regardless of what happens? Are you willing to do whatever it takes? It'll go retrograde, and then it'll go direct at 13 degrees on September 18th, 2019. So these next 2.5 years are going to be about, what are you willing to commit to? Are you committed? Are you willing to do whatever it takes? Is it effective? Is it working, and is it providing results? And this is really about detaching from that emotional aspect. And this is Saturn. A lot of astrologers are going to call this karma. Karma is self-created. Don't worry about karma. But karma has this tricky thing where it gets this emotional energy from you. You put these emotions and you attach these emotions to what your karma is, and they're created, and then it's all of a sudden this emotional thing. And Saturn can just feel like the end of the world sometimes. And you have to detach from that. It's kind of like, have you ever had a friend that you love to death? You absolutely love hanging out with them. Everything is perfect, but you just can't deal with their shit anymore. It's just too much. And even though you love them, you want the best for them, you just kind of have to detach and go, bro, this isn't working anymore. Like, I can't be your friend anymore. I have to do what's going to work for me, and this isn't working. And that's what the Saturn in Capricorn is going to be about. And you're going to see a lot of detachment. You're going to see a lot of people getting on their shit and going, well, I need to build something. I need to create something. This is time. And these next 2.5 years, we're going to be shown, it's kind of like building a building. First time, the first blueprint doesn't always work. It's not always the one that gets passed. And you're going to see yourself really just strengthening your capabilities of creation. This is, again, how bad do you want it? Capricorn wants things bad enough, but they want it bad enough to where they'll do whatever it takes to get to the level that they're at. And as Saturn goes through Capricorn, we're going to see ourselves really test how much we're committed to creating something. Capricorn's all about creation. And I don't want to say creation as in, because all the signs can create. But Capricorn is creating something that works, creating something that other people can use, creating stuff that makes you money, creating stuff that builds a sense of solid foundation, that builds an enterprise, a monopoly, if you want to get into the more business aspects of it. And this is what's going to push us to our next levels. Saturn's going to be conjunct Pluto, where we're going to go, wow, I didn't think what was possible. I didn't think that this was possible. Saturn conjunct Pluto is going to show you that there are things can look a different way than you expected them to. It doesn't always have to look the way that you want it to. But if it works, it works. And that's all that matters with Saturn and Capricorn. I swear to God, that's all this is going to be about. And Saturn and Capricorn could feel like it's going to be a little bit more. You could feel like it's going to deal with all these emotions and all that kind of stuff. But Saturn and Capricorn, it's just going to be about, man, what do you want to create? What are you willing to do to get there? Are you willing to detach? And what's that level of commitment? Keep moving, keep building. Go get serious with yourself. Like, it's time to get serious. Saturn and Sagittarius this past 2.5 years has been about, it's not even about being serious, because we're all just on this really wild adventure of craziness and, discovering and learning and blah, 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 blah. Now, we have this truth. We've been to Oregon. We're all Lewis and Clark. Or maybe you're Sacagawea, whatever you want to be. We've gotten to the West Coast, to the Pacific Ocean. we're on our way back. We're talking to Andrew Jackson. I think that was the guy who bought the Louisiana Purchase. And now it's time to do something with it. We've discovered, we've understood, we've been on it's been a long 2.5 years, guys. I'm going through it too. It almost frustrates me even thinking about the past 2.5 years. But this is the time to go, okay, I've learned something new. What am I willing to do with it? Sagittarius is college. Capricorn is business. You got the degree. Are you gonna go get the job? You mastered the art. Are you going to make a business out of it? That's basically what's going on, and it's that simple. Capricorn is so simple, unless it's Venus in Capricorn, then we got another story. But that's what this Saturn in Capricorn is all about, guys. This is about getting real, getting grounded, and go, what do we want to create? What are we going to do? And you're going to see challenges. It's not going to be like Saturn and Scorpio and Sag, where it's been an emotional challenge, or it's been a mental challenge. It's just going to be about the actual physical challenge. And that's honestly a lot easier than what we've experienced. So I'm going to leave you guys off with that. Again, if you guys were writing this down or wanting to know, Saturn goes into Capricorn December 20th of this year, 2017. He will go retrograde the first time at 9 degrees on April 18th of next year of 2018. And then, of course, a month after that, Uranus will go into Taurus, which is way crazier. He will go direct at 2 degrees. I did not write down the date for that. I apologize. And he will be trying, again, Uranus right there. That Saturn-Uranus trine we've had for the past little while is still going to continue, but not necessarily in the fiery sense of, whoa, everything is crazy and intense, to like, whoa, it's time to get real and it's time to build and feel grounded and feel that sense of It's kind of like when you finally can sleep after a big long day, and you can finally go home and lay in your bed and everything's perfect. You got everything you need to do today. That's that Uranus-Saturn trine in the earth signs. It will go direct at 2 degrees. It will retrograde again at 20 degrees. So that second decan, right when we get to that point, it will conjunct Pluto and retrograde on April 30th of 2019. So literally a year later. And then it will go direct at 13 degrees on September 18th of 2019. And then move into Aquarius shortly after. So that's what I got for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching all my videos. Please share, like, subscribe, comment, whatever it is you want to do it. I don't care. I appreciate it regardless. And I love all of you. Sending you all lots of love, white light, abundance. If you'd like to work with me one-on-one, feel free to shoot me an email at whitelightAstrology@gmail.com. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. Love having subscribers. And I just did my Mercury retrograde video, and today's Wednesday. Tomorrow will be Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving if you're not in America. Sorry, America's pretty cool, but we are pretty shitty at the same time, so happy Thanksgiving to you anyway. And I'll be seeing you guys soon for your, what the heck is going on in the universe? I was like, what video do I always do on the weekends? But I'll be seeing you guys then. Love you so much. Thank you. See you later.